Mhm. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus here again. Well, we've come full circle. I've been talking about the importance of peace and prosperity and joy for we Americans. And we have been going over this issue since the beginning. And when we step outside of the American borders, we've been doing this since humankind has been on this planet. And still, we find ourselves talking about war. So, we have come full circle, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you who are black people, you've tried to emulate, you've tried to fall in and be as white as you possibly could. And it hasn't worked. At this late date, after having this great big monumental statue in D.C. honoring Dr. Martin Luther King for standing up for peace and prosperity and stuff for all people, people going there standing in his foot tracks where he spoke. And what is for? White supremacy taking place in Virginia, arguing, take back our nation. A president who's championed these kinds of activities. And I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, that for those of the people who are thinking, those who are paying attention to what's going on, this is not just a happenstance. Two things are going on. First of all, Donald Trump is exactly where he's supposed to be. He's been put there. You don't know anything about it, but he's been put there. And all of the opposition that's coming against Donald Trump is all programmed. And those who are speaking out against Donald Trump is all part of a system. All of it plays to keep you tricked, to keep you thinking that somebody's on your side, that the scheme is not totally against you, so you don't have to go bazoo. It's all a game. It's a part of the process of taking over. You see, ladies and gentlemen, without me going through the whole process of things like I usually do in case I got some new viewers, I'm going to get straight to the point. This whole thing is about the power of creation, all of existence, by a power that we cannot see, we cannot touch, we cannot feel, but it is all here, including us. And all the things that the things that have been created can do, can give back and produce, and what we can give, can produce, can give back. All of this because of a power that we cannot see, a power we cannot touch, a power we cannot feel. And yet, all is because of that power. And that power demands respect. Respect that can only be honored by honoring that which has been created like us, by respecting all other as if we are being respected by the power that created us. That gives us peace and prosperity and joy. Everybody plays a part. Everybody creates together, and what is belongs to those who did it. And that's us, the people. Who we do it for, not just ourselves, but for everybody as a benefit from us by the power of a spirit that we can't see, that we can't touch, that we can't feel. But we are honoring that power by honoring ourselves. Now, there's another force. It is the self-appointed God. And that self-appointed God is totally against everything I just got through sharing with you. It's about self. And that self-appointed God has to rule somebody. Some, and who? It's others. The self-appointed God rules others. Now they need support, a support base. So they get those and bring them close to them and reward them, make them think they're special. This is the support base. Then he needs those that's not totally needed right now, but not so far off. In case we need you, we can get you. And you make it dependent upon something so very essential in their lives, something so very special. And what is it that's so very special? It is the same thing that it is on the other side. It's survival. On the other side, survival is met by the people. On this side, survival is still met by the people, but it's dictated by a force that governs the people, that determines who and what and when of the people. And that's called money. Money. You can have any and everything you want just like you can on the other side. The difference is the God that you can see wants it for everybody. The God that you see wants it for some. First of all, for himself or themselves. And a little bit for those who they can count on to do the killing, to do the lying, the cheating, the stealing, to exploit. All of that, they get rewarded. Those who don't rock the boat, who just take it and get in some crumbs that fall on the side of them, they can make it. Those who are really messed up, they have to be quiet. But what they usually do is commit crime, violence, as a result of the system's failure. But rather than this God, this self-appointed God, fixing the problems, addressing the problems, you throw them in jail, throw away the key, indoctrinate them with certain kind of vaccines, give them certain kind of stuff in water, do geo-killings of their food, get the cops, all you know the works, need me to go through that again. But that's the challenge. The God that's for everybody, and the self-appointed God that's for self and some. That's the challenge. Now this God, the self-appointed God, has been here ever since the beginning of time. It has always challenged the God of truth, the God of good. It has always challenged it. And many times, if history is accurate, that God has been able to deliver those who believed enough to put their lives on the line for that truth. And now we find ourselves in that moment again. A time when a nation, through its president, has proclaimed itself to be God, the most powerful nation on the face of the earth that ever was, with the greatest president that ever is to be. No other president has been as great as this president has already shown himself to be in the little time that he has been there. These are his thoughts. And he's ready to make a monkey out of anybody that challenges that. Except those powers that claims to be just as powerful, but not so vocal. Well, they're friends. And I think this is what small nations are saying. In order to be protected, in order to be a friend, you got to be capable. And I say to you, the American people, and I say to the people of the world, as spokesman for the God of good, it doesn't matter whether you know it or not, but the truth of the matter is this: all human beings are hypocrites. Now let me explain what I mean. You got the other day in Virginia. White supremacy, Nazi, neo, perhaps other right-wing white wannabe only survivors there, ready to kick butt, do anything. Now, they don't care about any of these other people's thoughts. But some of you do. Whatever they think about black people and others, many of you who are not black do care. And you stand up, and some of you get beat down when you stand up with those who resist this kind of stuff. But as long as this stuff exists, if you don't stop it, and I'm not talking about with the law, I'm talking about by doing what is proper. If you don't stop it, it's going to always fester. But let's say that you stand up with black people and people in this country. But there are people in other countries that are going through the same kinds of things. That's going through stuff several times worse than this. They say people in Iran with the sanctions are going through some hard times. They say people in North Korea, because of the sanctions, are going through some hard times. They say some of these other countries that are not bowing down to the U.S. like the U.S. and maybe other rich nations want them to be are under some sanctions, and they are going through some hard times. Venezuela, others. Well, those people and their hard times, those hard times are not based upon what our politicians have said or how our politicians are responding. No, my friends. These actions are the voices of you, the people. Our politicians, what they are doing is exactly what you want them to do. You say, well, I didn't say anything that was saying an awful lot. It was saying it is okay to do whatever you're doing. These people are being oppressed for some reason. Who do you think out here is a good nation, a great nation? America's people say America. Russia's people say Russia. China's people say China. And every last one of you fighting and killing, poverty, crime, and violence. I mean, the United States got more than most. And the thing of it is, there is a solution. This day and time, for those who say they know God, all these people in these mega churches, all these people in these churches that's not so mega, all these people who are in these small churches, people who are in these churches that got 1 or 2 members, people who are preaching on the corner of the streets, all of these people who say they love God, people who don't go to church at all but say God lives in them, all of these people are being put on the forefront. Whether you are telling the truth, you have not lied to God. You might have lied to one another and to yourselves, but you have not lied to God. Because you're living in a time when the devil and the devil's people will kill you if you are for real. If you are for peace and prosperity and joy for all people, and you are not going to settle for it, not just here in America, but not in China, not in Vietnam, not in the Philippines, not in India, not in Africa. If you're not going to settle for it anywhere, you got to go according to the self-appointed God. They gonna kill your butt. Now here's the big mystery. What's going to happen? This is what's going to happen. You shall reap what you sow. The seed that is planted produces the fruit. And what we have before us, calling themselves people of God, children of God, lovers of God, salt of the earth, and all of that, is going to get its test. As I said, the self-appointed God don't want you here. And if the people now if the people rise up right away, they can change all of this. But they got to be rising up, changing the system to represent God. And that's not happening. You got to go. So what's going to happen? Those of you who have been playing a game, those of you who love life so much that you don't really want to die, you don't know enough about this stuff on this after dying and all what that's all about. This God, you don't know enough about that, and so you would really rather hang around here. If you got to be a slave, you'll be a slave. If you got to lick somebody's boots, you'll lick the boots. Just let you live. Now they might, if they need you, let you live. Then they might not. But this is what you are willing to do. To obey, to please the self-appointed God so you can live. Those of you who are serious and you look at the devil and the self-appointed God and tell him to kiss the bottom of your foot because you don't care if there is no God or good. You will not under any circumstance listen to the junk that they have been putting forward. And if and as long as you're here on this planet, you will do everything you possibly can to share the good news of peace, the good news of prosperity, and the good news of joy that is brought on through the goodness and kindness of people lifting up their feet and going and putting forth their hands and doing what is necessary to make sure that they're bringing it and creating it for the people. As long as this is what we are here, this is what we're going to do. Now, you know that it's your time to go. Now, here's what's going to happen. Those of you who are a part of that number, if it is beneficial for you to stay here, if the people, for one reason or another, the God of good, see some reason that you should stay here, that God will protect you and the old devil won't be able to do a thing to harm you. We have seen it happen in the past, at least we've heard of it. But the reason it can happen for you is because you don't require it. You don't give a heck if it does or doesn't. You're not going to change. You're going to be this new person. The person that you are under the new drama. And so that then is in God's hand. God will make a decision as to whether you should stay here or not. And the devil can't do a darn thing about it. And if God says you're going to stay here, that means there are enough people out there who are waiting and their hearts are hoping and praying, and God can feel it. And he's leaving these people here just a little bit longer to do the work, to shine in such a way that you can smile once again. Because life is not only for some, but it's for you as well. But now, if you hung and stuck on silly, then God will call these people home and leave you here in the middle of this hell that the self-appointed God has created and you have solidified by your will. Think about it. There's a war going on. And we don't know if this is the end or no. But for me, it is the end of this system because I am alive. And my business is to tell you that you have the power to change the system. Not me. God has but won't. Only if you allow God to live in you and you do the work of the change can this happen. And that's my message to you. I'm telling it to you, and I'm standing up, speaking out for it, and ready to go and do whatever I got to do on the good side. for good, for God, for you. But that's about it. And so those of you who are for the self-appointed God, some people might say white supremacy. Some people may say black supremacy. Some men may say masculine supremacy. Some might say feminine supremacy. Some might say young folk supremacy. Some people might say old folk supremacy. Some may say straight and some may say gay supremacy. I say the supremacy of God is victory for you that you found inside of you, laying dormant, waiting for you to marry it and give it life, a new life, brand new life, the life that only you were created to give it. And you giving it. We all are. And it's a good thing. Have a nice day.